I'm convinced every family has a secret, one that they've neatly tucked away, hoping that a few hundred years and several generations might just make it go away completely. And when I find these secrets, I try to be as delicate and respectful of the family as I can when I tell their story. But I also firmly believe that it would be incredibly unfair if I didn't share one from my own family when I find them as well. So here goes. This is the headstone for my fourth great-grandpa, Samuel Callister, but everybody called him Dr. Sam. From what I can tell, he was a hard worker who was well respected in the community and a guy who everybody really seemed to like. Sam was born in Brimfield, Massachusetts in 1792. His father fought in the Revolutionary War, and when it was over, they gave him 2,000 acres by a grateful government in what was called Indian Country, and today we call it Madison, New York. Not long after coming here from a semi-brutal 3-month-long ox cart ride from Massachusetts, Sam's little brother Marcena was born, who became listed as the first white male child of this town. A few years later, Sister Caroline was born, and the family was complete. When Sam was 20 years old and his brother Marcena was 16, they enlisted to fight in the War of 1812. I can imagine the two brothers making the long trek on foot to Oswego, New York with their fellow new recruits, and being both nervous and excited at the prospect of war. A few years later, both would return home safe and sound. However, if you fast forward to just 2 years ago from today, I was given a beautifully written cursive letter from 1857 that was neatly tucked away in the barn of the Callister farm. It was addressed to Marcena Callister, Sam's brother, and it was from the Commissioner of the Pension Office. It basically said that they found that he had deserted on October 22, 1814, from the company of Captain W.J. Curtis, and as a result, he had to give back all the land they gave him. I don't know how true it was or what happened after that, but if you look at it for what it is, a kid, probably a terrified kid who just didn't want to be a drummer boy anymore that day, it makes it a little easier to understand. After the war, Sam caught a severe cold that resulted in serious lung issues. They thought he was going to die. He sought the treatment of Dr. White in Cherry Valley, New York, and he actually lived with the good doctor for quite some time, and that's when he decided to become a doctor himself. When he eventually returned home, he fell in love with Amanda Curtis, and they decided to get married. There was only one little problem, though. Her parents kind of didn't like Sam. In their eyes, here was this doctor that much preferred to ride on horseback with all of his doctor things in saddlebags instead of having the decency of riding around in a buggy. And not only that, he would be gone for days on end, tending to his patients across the countryside instead of being home tending to their daughter. Luckily, for me at least, they ignored her parents' wishes and were married anyway and had 3 kids. However, I don't think their marriage was as happy as they would have hoped. At one point, Sam had the audacity to take out an advertisement in a newspaper about Amanda. It said if anybody sees his wandering megalomaniac wife, to please return her to his residence. My first thought was that was a bold choice and rude. And my second was maybe she didn't want to be found, Sam. Despite their differences, they would spend eternity together. Just a few hundred yards away from this house, their house that they lived in, that still stands today, they are buried beside each other. I couldn't find their cause of death, but Sam passed away at only 53 years old in 1845, and a few years later, Amanda would be placed next to him at age 57.